All right, let's do this. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today I have Faris Aranki with me, and we're gonna talk about business efficiency. So I think you guys are gonna like this episode. So please, Faris, tell us a little bit about your story, and we'll get started.
Thanks, Richard. Great to be with you and all the listeners. And wow, well, my story. There's so much, like everyone's stories. But today you will find me running my own company, which I started 4 years ago. It's a consulting firm, which is all about bringing more emotional intelligence to strategy. And so we get companies to work better around their strategy and challenge their own biases. And I've been doing that for 4 years and really enjoyed it. But before then, I used to be a strategy consultant for 12 years. Before that, I used to work in the energy industry. And a long, long time ago, Richard, I started my career as a high school teacher. So I had some great years teaching math and economics to high schoolers around the world.
So how do you work with companies?
Well, we basically do one of two services. We either facilitate or we train. So basically, we get in the middle of teams to get them working better together. Having an idea is one thing, but getting people aligned and excited and bought into the same idea is quite challenging sometimes, particularly if teams have biases or some conflict amongst them. So we get in the middle of teams. We use techniques to get them to look at things differently, get them to work better together. And that's the facilitation side of our business. And the other side of the business is training. We teach leaders to do what we do. We train a range of soft skills from influencing, storytelling, communication, how to build a relationship in less than 5 minutes, all the stuff that will make a leader more impactful and more effective.
And what's the problems that when business come to you, what are some problems that they encounter?
Yeah, well, so common problems are they're just not hitting their strategy. And that could be a sales, they're not getting the sales they need. It could be customer satisfaction isn't where it needs to be. It could be employee morale or employee turnover is too high. So there's always a specific strategic challenge, and we just go about solving it through a people way. Let me give you an example. We were working with a big consumer goods company that had a warehousing problem. They were spending hundreds of millions of dollars on warehousing, and a lot of their stock was going off. They initially thought it was a problem to do with that they weren't forecasting the right amount. So they paid for new systems to try and fix this, and it didn't solve the problem. And then they tried doing process improvement, and that didn't fix the problem. And then we realized that part of the big problem was a conversation between two departments that didn't get on very well. And it wasn't going, every month it would go badly. So what would happen, Richard, was the supply chain team would model a number of each product that they need to make. So let's say the product was shampoo. They'd say, okay, this month we need to make 100 bottles of shampoo because our forecasts say that's how much we sell. And then they had to go and talk to the sales team who would look at the number and say, 100, we can sell 1,000. We are definitely really good. We can sell 1,000. And because the sales team were very extrovert and dominant characters, and they didn't really care about the supply chain team, they would always force through the number 1,000. And you can see where this story's going. What they'd do is produce 900 extra bottles of shampoo than they needed. And this happened month after month. And this is what was causing the warehousing problems. So by going in there, identifying the problem, and then working with the two teams to get them to have a better conversation each month and to see each other's point of view, helped us eliminate the problem. So this is the kind of work that we do, and often it's very people oriented that is holding back the strategy. So it's about identifying it and then finding a way through training or just changing the way people work together.
Do you have other examples that you could tell us?
Yeah, I've got loads of them. It's what I love about my work. Let me talk about another common problem that we see in companies, and that we often called in to fix, which is the lack of prioritization. So strategies are great, but strategy is as much about saying we're not going to do this as we are going to do this. But a lot of companies and a lot of individuals find it hard to say no to stuff. So every time I go into a company and ask them how many strategic priorities they have, often they'll tell me we have 100 or 150. And I'll say to them, look, say that back to yourselves. That doesn't make any sense. You can't have 150 things that are strategically important. It confuses the workforce. It stretches your limited resources. It means you're doing a bit here, a bit there. You're better off just doing 20 things really well or 10 things. I was working with a company with this exact problem. And, the senior team said to me, well, we understand that academically, but, these 10 projects are really good for this reason. These 10 are really good for this reason. These 10, the CEO said he wants them personally. So they could justify all 150 projects. So I said, okay. So I took the projects away. And Richard, do you know Pokemon cards? Have you ever seen Pokemon cards?
Yeah.
Yeah. I turned each of those projects into a Pokemon card. Instead of the Pokemon character stats, we put in the project statistics from their documents. How much each project cost, how much it was likely to generate in additional revenue, how many people it needed to deliver the project. And then we played 2 hours of Pokemon in the boardroom. All right. And by playing Pokemon and changing the way they looked at it, what would happen? Some cards would keep losing and they would get frustrated. They'd say, why does this card keep losing? I said, I don't know, it's your project. If you think it's a rubbish project, just get rid of it. All right. So we helped them go from 150 to 30 projects by reframing how they looked at the projects and the emotional attachment to them. All right. And do you know what impact that had for the business? Immense. It liberated. Yeah, okay, they had to close down 120 projects, but it meant they could really focus, and it drove their profitability. It drove the focus and the employee satisfaction as well. So sometimes taking a different look, finding a way to get people to unify around an idea is a really powerful thing.
And talk to us about the IQ and EQ.
Yeah. So we talk about if you want to be strategically successful, you need 3 pillars. You need 3 factors. So first of all, you need to know what you're trying to achieve, right? So set that. But once there, you need IQ, and that is all, the best idea how to get there. All right. It's not enough to take your first idea. Too many businesses take their first idea. Right? What if that's not a great idea? What if it fails? Right? You're better having 100 ideas and then picking the best one than just one idea and picking the best one. So we help, generate more ideas. We stress test those ideas. We make sure that it is the best idea. So that's how we help on an IQ point of view. And anyone can do that. Improve your IQ. The next part is EQ. Okay, and EQ is the ability to take others on the journey with you. So when I talked about that company where the 2 departments weren't talking together, that's because there was a lack of EQ. Right? It was a lack of bringing them together, getting them to see the importance of each other, right? So sometimes you need to bring more emotional intelligence into a business. And that's where we can help as well. So you have a great idea, make sure it's the best one, make sure others are with you, that's the EQ. And then the final bit is this FQ, and a lot of people might not have heard of FQ. That is focus quotient. Okay, and that is the ability to be focused on the things that are important. And that's where the top trumps come in, the Pokemon cards, right? Being able to focus and say, these 30 things are the most important, let's get rid of the rest, is super important for a company, as well as removing any barriers that might be in the way. All right. Now, for you and I, on a personal level, FQ might mean let's find a way to not be distracted by our mobile phone. All right. Let's find a way to get more focus back into our lives so we can give, our full attention to the things that we say are really important. So those are the 3 pillars.
What are some other mistakes that people do when it comes to strategy?
Oh, there's loads of them. So I think everything from not talking to enough people, not testing their strategies. I've seen so many companies launch strategies on a hope or on a false assumption. Oh yeah, the market wants this. Consumers will buy this. This extra feature will be a game changer. But they haven't really tested it. Not either tested it with their customers, tested it with others, or tested how their competitors are going to react. So I always advise people, test your ideas, get them out sooner, test them more, ask more questions before you go all in and spend lots of money, because it could be really invaluable. So that's a big thing I see around strategy. Then, as I said, too many strategies are, one person thinks they're amazing, but they're unable to convince other people. Now, it's much easier to get people to accept a strategy if they feel it's their strategy, if they feel they built it, than if they're just somebody drops it on them. So always incorporate more people in designing and developing your strategy. And I don't mean they have to be there the whole way, but even if they just help with 1% of it, they'll feel more ownership. And on the focus There's both sides of it. Being too focused and spending too much time in a room can drive, striving for perfection can limit your effectiveness. But equally, being too scattergunned means you're not going to achieve anything. So these are common things that I see in business and with individuals.
How long would you say someone should test the strategy?
There's lots of great ways, right? Have you ever heard of a pre-mortem?
No.
Richard, no? A pre-mortem is a fantastic technique where you take any strategy or any idea and you assume it's failed. Not just failed, it's failed hideously. Right? And what you do as an individual, but it's better done as a team, is go, right, let's identify all the reasons why it failed. Any reason. Let's get them out. Let's have a brainstorming session, but in a negative way. Right? Super powerful for allowing the team to go, actually, I think this might not work. Actually, do you know what? I think this. Get them all out, then find the ones that you're most worried about and find a solution before they happen. Right? That's a good, quick, simple way to test any idea. But a lot of people don't flip it on its head because they don't want to assume it fails. Why would I do that? It's my shiny baby. I don't want to imagine a world where this doesn't work. But that's really powerful. And a further onto that, something we do a lot with companies is wargaming. We'll take a strategy and we will play it out. We'll either play it out competitively, see how your competitors will react to it, or we play it out. How will your team deliver this? What challenges they're going to face? So it's a little bit like a pre-mortem, but it's bringing it to life. So there's lots of little techniques to stress test, really go through the process without having to spend all the money.
So what's the main focus that for businesses to have business efficiency? That the main thing that they would have to focus?
It all starts with a vision and an objective. If you do not have clarity on what you want to achieve and need to achieve, then you can't be effective. You can't be efficient. You're just doing work. How will you know where you're getting to? And this is a big challenge for businesses. A lot of people I see, and particularly small businesses, just start working without having that clarity on where do we want to end up? What do we want to achieve? And the danger of not doing that is, one, you may end up in a destination that you didn't originally set sail for, okay? Because it's very easy to stay busy. And two, it's harder to articulate to others and get them on board if you do not have that clarity. So it is a big, value of defining your vision, or flip on its head, define the problem that you're trying to solve. I always share a great quote from Albert Einstein, which says, if I only had an hour to save the world, I'd spend at least 55 minutes working out what the problem is, because then it's easy. But too many people spend 55 minutes just doing stuff.
So what would you say to startups when it comes to strategy? People who are starting a business.
Yeah, I think back to when I started my business, right? Develop a plan, right? But don't spend forever on it. I'm a strategist and I could have spent maybe 6 months developing a plan. But I said to myself, no, maximum a month. But actually after 3 weeks, I had a plan and I said, let's go out and start trying it. Because that's a really important part, right? The trying bit, because you don't know what you don't know and you need to go and test in the market. And do you know what? My plan changed rapidly in the next 2 months after that. And if I'd stayed in a room just tinkering with it, I wouldn't have got nearly as much value as just getting out there. So my advice to any startup is have a plan. Do not start without a plan, but do not overcomplicate the plan. Do not spend, nth degree on it. Get out there, test the market, share your idea with more people, knock on more doors, come back and refine your plan and just repeat. And it's amazing how, you won't see it day to day, but you will see the business building behind you by doing this process.
So we're in the era of AI right now. So
Yeah.
All these bunch of tools. Have you started working with businesses on how they can implement AI in their business?
Yeah, I have. And there's some great ideas out there. And the thing about AI, it's a bit like going to the gym sometimes. If you've never been, it can seem scary. So you might need somebody to hold your hand or go with you the first time. So something I do for a lot of teams is get them to use AI in our meetings, right? So I'll say, okay, today's meeting, which maybe is a creative session where we're going to generate ideas. One person in the team, I'll say, Richard, today you're going to be the person who's going to be in charge of the chat GPT. So you're going to type in exactly the question I'm asking the group, And instead of your answers, you're going to give the answers from ChatGPT when we go around. So it's showing how it can be a friend as well, and how you can use it to expand your thinking and that creative, that IQ part. So yeah, and that way, and each team meeting, you change the person who's in control of the ChatGPT. That way, you're getting them more comfortable. You're holding their hand, so that when they're making much bigger decisions around AI, they've already got a level of comfort with it. Because a lot of senior people are a generation above. They're not every day growing up with these sort of things. So the sooner you can help them get over that barrier and become aware of it, use it, then they can make much bigger decisions around, should we use AI to automate some of the work that this department's doing or this department's doing. So both strategically in terms of the big decisions, but also at a more getting people used to it. I'm using it more and more with my clients.
So when it comes to leadership, what would you say, concerning leadership in regards to having business efficiency?
I think great leadership is vital for all businesses and all aspects of life, not just business, right? Sport, your personal life, and it all starts with understanding yourself, right? Do you know enough about yourself, how you react in different situations, what mood you're in day to day? Because these things can have a big impact on others, and leadership is about your impact on others. So get to know yourself, understand when you're in a slightly negative mood, how you can get yourself back. When you are under stress, what do you do? Do you go quiet? Do you go loud? So that's the first step, understand yourself. Then the next step is go and understand other people in your team and those you lead more, right? So, it's a cliche, but ask more questions than you talk. I always tell leaders to spend more time listening, ask questions, listen for the answers, genuinely listen. They will build stronger relationships, they will get better ideas, and they'll get higher engagement. So this is a key component of leadership for me. Improve your listening and your questioning skills. And then off the flow of that, find ways to, make big decisions, and be honest with your team, right? If they're really going to follow you, there's three components to trust, which is, do they like you, is the authenticity, do they believe you, which is the credibility, and there's the reliability. Do you do time and time again what you tell them you will do? And if you can nail those three things, then you'll be a great leader.
What would be your last words in regards to everything we talked about?
We have covered a lot, Richard, so I've really enjoyed it. I would just encourage people to be more curious. Curiosity is a great thing. Never, I always tell myself, don't believe your own hype. You can always challenge things, your ways of doing things. I'm the kind of person who will always have a challenge for myself to pick up a new skill or try doing something a bit different. So yeah, just increase your curiosity even by 1%, and then it will unlock some of those things that we talked about before around questioning, around bringing more emotional intelligence, working better, more focus. And enjoy it. That's a key part of whatever you're doing in life, as much as you can.
Where can people find you on social media or the internet?
Well, there's two great places to find me. One is my company is called Sheer Ghetto. So come and visit our website, which is www.sheerghetto.com. Now, sheer ghetto is the Japanese word for a sharpening stone. So if you've ever had a knife that's been dull, you might have used a sheer ghetto. And we are a sheer ghetto for businesses. So come and find us at sheerghetto.com. Or the other place is come and find me, Faris Aranki, on LinkedIn. I spend a lot of my life there. I reply to every message. I post every day. So I love carrying on the conversation. You can find me there. You can find my blog. You can find my videos. And you can find me. So yeah, those are two places.
All right. Thanks, Faris, for being here. It was nice meeting you and talking to you. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. So on that note, thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. My name is Richard.lesperance, and I go by the name of my man Richard. And I was with Faris Aranki, and we'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Bye.